Pudge, put down that jar of artisanal despair and look at this madness. We need to talk about the Turtle Island Liberation Front. Now, for those of you not fluent in radical college campus jargon, Turtle Island is the beautiful, traditional name used by many indigenous peoples for North America. Great, respect. But the Liberation Front? They're not exactly throwing a potlatch. We're talking about a group of anti-capitalist, far-left extremists, none of whom are actually from the nations that named the turtle, who were just arrested by the DOJ for allegedly plotting to bomb U.S. facilities on New Year's Eve. The concept is indigenous, the cause is Palestinian, and the actual plot is domestic terrorism. The math isn't mathin', Pudge. Here's the first layer of absurdity. These people, these alleged bombers, are screaming about decolonization and the land back movement. And yet, who are the members? People with names and backgrounds from around the globe. The exact kind of settler you're supposedly trying to kick out. They've taken a deep spiritual indigenous concept and weaponized it into a hipster manifesto for violent anti-government action.
They believe they are the new indigenous bandit. They are ideologically native to the land.
Ah, yes, the ideological indigenous. It's like moving into a teepee you bought off Amazon but still complaining about the Wi-Fi. It's the ultimate act of cultural appropriation. You co-opt the name of a marginalized group for your anti-government bombing plot while doing zero work to actually adhere to the spiritual or political goals of the actual tribes. It's performative activism with C4 explosives. But here's the most hypocritical thing, and this is where the education needs to sink in. The TILF and their allies are fiercely pro-Palestinian. They see their struggle on Turtle Island as the same as the Palestinian struggle. They use the academic framework of settler colonialism for both. The logic, white Europeans came to North America and displaced the natives. Therefore, Jewish people, who they classify as white Europeans, came to Israel and displaced the natives, Palestinians. It's a neat little equation. But we've got a problem, Pudge. A biblical time problem.
You mean the thousands of years of continuous, documented, archaeological, and religious presence?
Exactly. The Jewish people are the original indigenous people of the southern Levant. They were forced out by empires and then returned. If your whole framework is about giving land back to the original people, the people who were there in old time, then your argument for Palestinian liberation actually reinforces the Jewish indigenous claim to the land of Israel. But the TILF doesn't care about old time when it comes to Israel. They only care about the last 100 years of political history, classifying Zionism as a Western colonization project. They wipe away 3,000 years of documented history just to make their tidy anti-Western spreadsheet work. So what is the TILF really about, Pudge? They take a sacred term, they hijack a noble cause, indigenous rights, and they mash it together with a global conflict, Palestine. They are claiming to fight against the empire, but they are actually just a cover for nihilistic, anti-capitalist violence. Their movement isn't liberation. It's a desperate attempt to find an intellectually high-sounding reason to blow things up. They aren't revolutionaries. They're privileged activists who found a global cause to justify their domestic destruction.
The Turtle Island Liberation Front isn't fighting settler colonialism. They are ideological settlers. They've settled on a narrative and they'll bomb anyone who tries to make them acknowledge the facts that contradict it.
They're just the world's most aggressively self-righteous terrorist group, Pudge. Their itinerary is sponsored by stupidity. Stay safe.
Don't be stupid.